as well. But in Russian society, what's happening by and large is that one of the things is that Putin has been the guarantor of that. So in a way, Putin has been the Russian society came to current state of the economy and society and consumerism on the foot of Putin's restoration of the Russian economy. That first and second terms of his presidency, which I as an analyst would say were largely productive, were largely positive, and were associated with some, perhaps not sufficient, certainly, and frustratingly delayed reforms. So to a lot of Russians today, certainly Russians who are remembering the 1990s, the consumerism itself is associated with prosperity, relative prosperity, is associated with Putin regime. And it's associated with Putin's management style and management of the economy, and so forth. Whether it is right or wrong, that's a different argument, but that's what it is, okay? So from their point of view, that suffering is still kind of, it's still justifiable, okay? It still is something that, I can give you an example of an older generation. My mother, she lives in Moscow, and I have, mighty arguments with her now because our worldviews are completely different vis-a-vis this current war. She's totally fine saying, things like, I'm a retired person, she's on a state pension, she's not by any possible means wealthy. I'm totally fine with what's going on. There is no problem in the shops. I don't care if there is Apple around. I don't care if there's McDonald's around. I go to the shop. I still can buy my necessities, and this is more than I could do in the 1990s when we all were almost starving. So how do you turn around and say to a person like that, look, the life can be much better. Life can be much better without, having to, if you want, put Russia as the state and the society into pariah position globally. Because from their point of view, they relate that democratic change, the market forces, the capitalist economy with the 1990s, which were absolute disaster. And to the extent, by the way, they are justifiable in doing so, because remember those disastrous reforms, the privatization that made all of the oligarchs today, was something that was introduced into Russia because Russia didn't have a capacity to develop its own framework by the West, by the United States, by Harvard economists. I know this. They're my colleagues, I communicate with them occasionally, and quite often, I even can jokingly tell them, in quasi-public domain, you advocated in the 1990s, creation of the likes of, today's oligarchs. Have any sort of qualms about it? And they do. Because they also didn't know any better. They also were misguided quite often in their advice. But one way or another, for an ordinary Russian, that's what is associated with non-Putin, Western-style democratic system. And these are educated, by the way, all the Russians. We're not talking about uneducated ones. That gets far worse there,